But no, let's shift gears because one of the most exciting thing is going from, so you've gone from print to digital, but now sort of working with Canfield Scientific over the last, I would say 7, 8 years, and you helped to create this 3D imaging technology, right? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So, and exactly right. So what we did was we went from photo books that were real photo albums with prints to using digital 2D images, which were basically the same photo albums, but they were digital. And But there's really two problems with using regular 2D pictures in order to monitor these high-risk patients. One is you need a lot of different pictures to cover the surface from the front, the side, the back. Two is that you don't want to miss any spots. So the pictures by definition are going to be overlapping, okay? Which means that if you want to, in addition to just use the overview pictures, take additional modalities like what we call dermoscopy, which is a specialized little hand device that we use to look at moles and melanoma that give us a lot more information. We can actually link those dermoscopy images to the total body photography and use those as an additional way to find melanomas even earlier and avoid biopsies. But when you have a lot of pictures and the close-up images could be linked to any of a bunch of pictures, that gets very confusing. Whereas if you have one representation of the whole body, it's just quicker, easier, and every spot on the body is unique. So we can label these additional pictures in a way that's never confusing. The other big advantage of 3D imaging is that with a 2D picture, by definition, the size of something is only going to be accurate if it's completely perpendicular to the spot. So if you look at my hand, obviously this is the distance from my pinky to my thumb. And if you're perpendicular, you can measure that. But if I move it to an angle, that changes. And so the same thing's the problem if you're trying to monitor things for change in 2D. It's a real problem on curved surfaces. And it's a real problem if the camera's not in the exact position relative to the patient, whereas 3D solves that. So for both reasons, you're right. We partnered with Canfield Scientific, and I wish it was only 7 years. We did it in 2011, so it's already taken us 12 years. We're very excited that now groups around the world are beginning to use this total body 3D system, which is much more convenient for the patient because you step into this huge machine, but 1 3 millisecond capture, and it has all the information it needs to create the total body 3D image. And then for us, when we're seeing those patients back, it's really helpful.
Yeah, no, I sort of definitely appreciate that, and there's something else to it, right? Because for the 2D photography, you need a trained medical photographer, and you're sort of sitting there taking 20, 30 minutes getting all those shots. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable for the patient because they're sort of standing there almost completely naked in front of like a photographer. And whereas the 3D, it's quick, less than 3 seconds, all the camera fires simultaneously. And patient sort of like that experience much better. It's quicker and it's less embarrassing.
Exactly. And then, of course, now the really exciting thing is because in 3D, we know the real size and appearance of everything. Now the computer can actually look for change from one time to another. And so with 2D, that's always a challenge because is it really changing or did the angle of the camera change?
Yeah.
Now we're able to actually use the computer to tell us what's changing.
And also, I think there's something more to it, right? In the past, we sort of taken those photos once at the baseline because it's so cumbersome and you can't really track it. But now it's quicker, and you can theoretically put the patient back and let the machine take the photo and sort of compare it right away.
Exactly. And that's where it's all headed. And then, and that's before we get into a whole discussion of what is AI and where is it going to go. But yeah, so in terms of simply using the pictures to monitor, though, I think this is a huge leap forward.